The fitness industry is unforgiving, chewing people up and spitting them out. Many influencers and online fitness gurus have gone through similar experiences. They enjoy the highs of fame, brand deals, and new cars, but in the process, they are often changed by fame, steroids, or tragic circumstances. Other times, however, these influencers have no one but themselves to blame for their downfalls, and no one embodies that better than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. At this point, you'd have been living under a rock to not know him. In the late 90s, he stormed WWE's a slick-talking heel that people love play a character he didn't fully believe in, and wrestling crowds can smell that from a mile away. But then something changed. During an episode of Monday Night Raw, he finally snapped, and instead of forcing the "please like me" act, he leaned into how he actually felt. That crash-out moment flipped his career, because suddenly he wasn't acting confident, he was confident. Dwayne became The Rock, and over time he became the face of WWE, and to many, the greatest wrestler of all time. And once you become that guy, people don't just copy your catchphrases, they chase your physique. That only got amplified when The Rock became a Hollywood megastar, showing up in some of the biggest budget movies of the last 2 decades. Usually playing the same role, the unstoppable tank who can't be hurt and can't be beaten. Whether you think he's an amazing actor or not, one thing about The Rock has always been undeniable: his body. And he never misses an opportunity to remind everyone how hard he works in the gym.
And in the gym, as in life, raising the bar isn't always about putting on a big show. It's the small, quiet promises you make to yourself. The ones you could break and no one would know. But you don't. You show up every day and meet this gym on its terms.
And how strict his lifestyle is to maintain that physique at his age. For years, that image worked. The hardest working man in the room, the disciplined machine, the blueprint. But slowly, people started noticing something. The Rock wasn't just promoting fitness, he was promoting a persona. And over time, cracks started showing. Not from one huge scandal, but from lots of smaller moments that made people question how real any of it was. One of the weirdest examples was when The Rock posted that he was trying In-N-Out for the first time.
It's all just standard celebrity trash. This is the 3rd time he's done it. He keeps pretending that he's trying In-N-Out for the first time every couple of years. Why? Why are you lying about that? You could just say, like, I love In-N-Out, so I'm going back to In-N-Out. Let's go. Can't wait for more In-N-Out. Why does it always have to be your first time? We know it's not.
It sounds harmless until the internet does what the internet always does. People started calling it out as fake. Dude's basically a walking billboard. He's the type of entertainer that is selling a persona, not himself. This should be no surprise. And others were even angry. They were just confused. I don't understand why anyone in the public eye tells lies that can be so easily debunked. But that was just the appetizer. Because the bigger controversy wasn't about burgers, it was about the fitness image itself. For years, fitness creators have questioned The Rock's public diet claims, especially the idea that he's casually eating around 8,000 calories a day while staying shredded.
I can tell you there is no way The Rock burns off enough calories to average 6,000 to 8,000 calories a day and look like this. If he actually ate those kind of calories, 6,000 to 8,000 a day, he would be 100 pounds overweight.
Greg Doucette is one of the many voices that's called that out, saying the numbers don't make sense the way they're presented. At the same time, other people argue it could be possible for someone like The Rock because he has unlimited resources, elite chefs, nutritionists, trainers, recovery tools, and a schedule built around performance. So the diet debate is messy. But there's another part of the story that isn't messy at all. Because even a lot of his fans struggle to believe the version The Rock keeps pushing. For years, The Rock being natural has been one of the worst kept secrets in the industry. People like Joe Rogan have talked about it.
The Rock should come clean right now. He should make a video in response to the Liver King video. I need to talk to you because The Rock's been lying.
Yeah. No, yeah,
There's not a fucking chance in hell he's clean.
No.
Not a chance in hell. As big as The Rock is, at 50,
Creators like More Plates, More Dates have speculated on what he'd likely have to be using to maintain that look, especially with age, workload, and filming demands.
This guy is like top of the heap, jacked out of his tree, and it can definitely be supported via, high-end TRT, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's what he's been deploying for the past however many years to maintain this physique that is definitively enhanced in contrast to his younger self, which would have been more primed for muscle gain had he been natural now and then.
And The Rock's continued denial has become part of the problem, because every denial doesn't calm the conversation. It restarts it. Then in 2025, another moment poured gasoline on the fire. The Rock suddenly appeared noticeably smaller. He claimed it was for an upcoming film.
I'm going to play a man known as a Chicken Man. I put on over 30 pounds to play Mark Kerr. I had to come back down to normal weight and then probably lose but maybe somewhere in the 25 to 30 pounds just to play the Chicken Man.
But a lot of people weren't buying that explanation, and speculation started spreading, including claims that something might be seriously wrong behind the scenes.
The Rock has officially come off steroids. Now, love him or hate him, this guy is on the top of the charts when it comes to fake naturals. He's right up there with Mike O'Hearn. However, the show looks like it's finally coming to an end. He recently found out that he had plaque buildup in his circumflex artery from his decades of gear use. Now, the reason why this plaque buildup can be so fucking dangerous is because it can lead to heart attacks, strokes, or aneurysms, which is probably why he decided to hop off.
One Instagram reel in particular took off, and it clearly struck a nerve, because The Rock responded in the comments saying it wasn't true. Instead of ending the story, that response made it bigger.
When you take steroids, it often causes the moon face. You have more volume in the face. It causes your head to swell, to get bigger. And so in a matter of months, The Rock has lost a significant amount of size, and you have to assume it's from stopping steroids.
And as the backlash grew, even longtime fans started turning on him. Not because he changed his body, but because of years of what they saw as PR-managed dishonesty. I used to love Dwayne, but the years of straight-up lies about steroids has been egregious. Everybody knows he's inhaling Trenbolone sandwiches by the dozen, yet he refuses to drop this fake PR act. Dude comes off like a PR robot, trained to answer every question as vaguely as possible. Now, The Rock is trying to pivot harder into being taken seriously as an actor, because whatever credibility he had in the fitness world has been bleeding out for a long time. And he's not the only one, because much like The Rock, Larry Wheels built a brand on transparency and still ended up in scandal. Larry Wheels went from one of the most promising young stars in fitness to one of the most clowned on influencers on the internet. And what makes it worse is that in 2017, this outcome would have sounded impossible. Back then, Larry was building real credibility in the fitness world. He was competing, stacking wins, and his online profile was exploding, with videos pulling tens of millions of views off pure freakish strength. Larry has some of the most insane genetics along with some of the most intense training and effort. But what really set Larry apart wasn't just strength, it was honesty. Unlike most influencers who dance around the subject, Larry was open about using gear.
I knew the risks. I was ready to die for it. I just wanted to be good at something so bad, because nothing else in my life fulfilled me like working out and getting better at the gym did. That's what I was passionate about. So when I decided to pin myself for the first time, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna stop everything else because this is a better work.
And that transparency made people trust him even more. A steroid user who lies about his abuse makes you hate him more. A steroids user who is honest about his abuse makes you respect him even more. And for a while, that was Larry's brand. No hiding, no pretending, just raw truth. But that same honesty became a pattern. Because after the steroids talk, Larry started opening up about other addictions too. And the deeper he went, the darker the story got.
The truth is that I had been wasting all of my money on this campsite addiction. And I have always been someone who I felt was good with money in the sense where I didn't spend my money on clothes, on anything materialistic, on cars, on anything that I didn't need. So when this came about, I don't see how it took me so long to realize how bad it got.
According to Larry, he was spending over $5,000 per day on these camgirl sites, and he described it as an addiction that took him to a really bad place. And that was just the beginning, because over the next few years, Larry's public image didn't just crack, it deteriorated in real time. He started turning into the fitness influencer who couldn't stop humiliating himself on camera. And the internet, being the internet, turned it into a sport. It started with allegations that Larry Wheels was a cuck.
After all the memes that have been going viral on the internet, this is what you come up with?
Yeah.
While I'm on live?
Despite his best attempts to deny it, Coach Greg went digging, and the Larry Files storyline started gaining momentum.
I am not a cuck. For anyone out there wondering, there is no cuckoldry going on here in this marriage.
Why would he throw that out there? I am not a cuck. There is no cuckoldery going on here, when we have visual evidence that he is.
Then John Bravo dropped screenshots that told a different story than Larry's denials.
So he's trying to convince her. One day, I want you to text me about this kind of stuff and talk to me like a cuck. Thanks in advance. She says, how so, master? Like I'm the submissive one and you rub in my face how these guys did things with you I haven't.
And from there, it just kept escalating. More clips surfaced, more streams got clipped, and the internet did what it always does when it smells blood. It dogpiled.
You know what jujitsu? Just try it out, man.
No. Brother.
I'm gonna stand on the side next to you. Yeah,
Yeah, maybe not between her legs.
yeah, I'm back here. Where would you prefer? Right?
What would I prefer?
Oh, this is also a weird angle. Maybe I'm just gonna look at you.
Yeah, just do that.
Larry the Third.
Yeah, maybe don't try and grab my butter pecs.
Okay,
and we're cool.
Sorry. Yes.
The result is that Larry went from being respected for his discipline and strength to being treated like a walking punchline.
I just wanted to tell you that you f***ed me up because I think you unseated me as the top.
Kirk!
What's up?
And it didn't stop there. In April 2026, John Bravo dropped part 2 of the Larry Files, claiming Larry put his ex-girlfriend through hell.
I decided to meet a guy and I said, look, I've never done this in my life. I've never cheated. I've never laid eyes on another man when I'm with another man, but this is what my boyfriend has always wanted. And I think that he, could we do sex? I was so unbelievably drunk and I was also on my period. And he was like, yeah, that's fine. And I was like, really? And so woke up the next day and he had obviously read the messages on his phone where I told him that I'd hooked up with someone. He came downstairs kissing, hugging. I love you so much. You are amazing. Da, 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 da. And I was feeling really shit about myself. And he was like, look, I understand if you don't want to do it again, but if you do, I would really want you to get video footage of it. And I was like, the fuck? This is insane. This man is giving me the most attention that he's ever given me in our whole entire relationship.
Now, Larry looks like a shell of who he used to be, digging deeper into addiction, feeding the controversy, and becoming one of the most joked about people online. And his story isn't unique, because the next downfall follows a very similar pattern. Mike Israetel. Mike Israetel quietly built a massive following of people who treated his word like scripture. He wasn't just another fitness YouTuber yelling into a camera. Mike had credentials, a PhD in sports physiology from East Tennessee State, and he used that academic authority the same way some people use a badge, to prove he was the smartest guy in the room, and to talk down to anyone who questioned him.
I'm both on a raw IQ scale smarter than almost every coach, maybe every coach.
In 2012, he and Nick Shaw launched Renaissance Periodization, RP, and the timing couldn't have been better. Back then, YouTube fitness was still dominated by bro science, vibes, and anecdotal trust me advice. Mike arrived with spreadsheets, concepts, and vocabulary that sounded like it came straight out of a lab. One of the biggest ideas he pushed was maximum recoverable volume, MRV. And whether people understood it or not, it gave Mike something most influencers never had: the aura of being unchallengeable. That formula worked. RP's channel grew into a monster, pulling in millions of subscribers and becoming famous for one type of content above everything else: Mike critiquing other people's training. Mike became one of the most recognizable science-based voices in fitness, landing major podcasts and publishing books while building an empire around being right. But at the peak of his career, the trait that built his brand, that unshakable high IQ confidence, started turning into something else: ego and insecurity. It starts in 2019 when Greg Doucette uploads a video criticizing Jeff Nippard's science-based lifting approach.
People are lazy, people don't train hard, and so to tell someone to hold back when they're already holding back is moronic and asinine.
The video wasn't directed at Mike, but Mike took it personally anyway and responded.
So you could surmise hypothetically that going really close to failure is much better for the very advanced, and it has a very distinct benefit. And I'm open-minded to that. I've noticed most of Greg's audience is not advanced, and they would do very fine with submaximal training.
Greg responded back, and suddenly you've got a rivalry that wasn't really about science anymore. It was about status.
I can barely understand everything he's saying, so if I have a trouble, I mean, I'm like listening, okay, yeah, this is, okay, yeah, I get it. But like most people, it's just like, what did he say? It's over confusing.
Then came December 2019, the moment that changed how a lot of people viewed Mike. Mike called Greg out for a face-to-face debate, thinking it would make him look stronger, sharper, more convincing. Instead, it did the opposite.
It seems to be able to work, but I like my technique of I go for hypertrophy first, and then I go for strength. We only do low reps when peaking for me. So like I'm coaching a guy right now, it's 8+ all the time.
Because in that conversation, fans saw a side of Mike that didn't really feel scientific. It felt arrogant, and people noticed immediately. Greg left his ego at the door for this one. Mike did not. From there, the egos started showing up more and more, especially when Mike pivoted into training seriously again, chasing an IFBB Pro card. And to maximize that goal, fans believed Mike would do what most competitive bodybuilders eventually do, run a cycle. But instead of boosting his confidence, it seemed to mess with his head.
I go work out every morning and I look at the pond and the trees and I'm like all I feel is rage and frustration and anger and anxiety, and it's just scream in my head all the time. And like, look at how beautiful the world is. I'm like, I know it's beautiful and I know I like it, but I only like it when I come off of drugs. When I'm on drugs, I can't even hardly perceive beauty at all. That's my daily life.
And after he failed to place top 5 in his first official show, he stepped away from competing.
The reason you didn't win is A, you came in soft, you weren't shredded, you weren't granite hard. Yeah, you have a lot of muscle, which is amazing, but you weren't peeled to the bone. And so you can train as hard as you want. You can have the best science, this science, that training that anyone could ever have. But if you're not willing to suffer, to eat in a calorie deficit, do the appropriate amount of cardio, you ain't gonna be shredded when it comes to stepping on stage.
At that point, something flipped. Mike went on the offensive. He started taking shots at Greg, calling him fake.
He talked mad shit in his videos with his fake voice about how stupid I was and how wrong I was about volume or whatever it was about. And I was like, oh, this guy wants a shot at the title. So when we got face to face in a debate, I mirrored that energy. And he turned off his parrot voice and went straight into nice guy agreeable mode. And almost all the comments were like, oh my God, this Mike guy's a f***ing asshole.
But the internet doesn't let you live in that persona forever. Because eventually someone shows up and asks the question nobody else thought to ask. Is it real? That person was YouTuber Solomon Nelson. Solomon claimed Mike's PhD was the biggest academic sham in fitness.
What I got was a document so sloppy, shallow, and confused, it could only pass in a system that had already failed.
He accused Mike of writing a thesis filled with grammatical errors and confusing takes, and concluded there was nothing original about the findings.
In his conclusion, Mike summarizes his findings, which basically just reinforce existing wisdom about athletic performance. Mike suggests how future research could explore how fitness priorities might vary across skill levels, but offers little in the way of specific methodological approaches or clearly defined unanswered questions.
And for someone who built a career calling other people suboptimal and unintelligent, this was the perfect nightmare. Because if your entire brand is, I'm the smartest, you don't get to survive a credibility leak. And this was exactly the kind of moment Greg Doucette had been waiting for.
If I was his teacher, I would say, you know, this is not bad. It's your first try. Please go and proofread it a couple more times. I mean, you're on the right path. You have potential, but this is his PhD. I taught high school kids that high school kids could have done better than this. I'm sorry. I'm just telling you what I know. I don't have a PhD. I have my master's, and I would be embarrassed if I did this.
Mike responded, but the response didn't calm people down. It made the suspicion louder.
We now know Solomon was looking at an accidentally uploaded incorrect rough draft. So I'll say this,
I don't blame him for going hard on it because he has every reasonable idea to think this was the final draft. It wasn't. We have the final draft now in the link here. And so most of his critiques are just non-starters because the final just doesn't have most of those problems.
And what made it worse is that Solomon had apparently reviewed the correct document, something Mike later clarified in an Instagram post. Upon review, the dissertation Solomon examined was indeed the correct document. That detail didn't save Mike, it angered people more. Because to the audience, it turned into a character issue, not an academic one. I just wish you had been 100% honest from the beginning. That wouldn't have been near as bad. It wouldn't have discredited all the work you've done in the past 10 to 15 years. Lying about it shows a serious lack of integrity. PhD, black belt, 160 IQ. Sounds like what the compulsive liar in elementary school told me his dad was. And that's how Mike lost what mattered most. Not subscribers, not views, trust. The guy who built an empire on credibility became, for a lot of people, the internet's favorite fitness guru to clown on. And honestly, Mike isn't the first influencer to lose everything because the image collapsed. Because the next name on that list is one of the biggest of all, the Liver King. Liver King rose fast by selling one simple idea. He had the secret to an unmatched physique.
The 9 ancestral tenets are these forces that have nourished us and shaped us to epigenetically express our highest and most dominant form.
And the secret wasn't genetics or good lighting, it was a lifestyle. His 9 ancestral tenets included sleeping well, eating nutrient-dense raw foods like raw liver, exercise, shielding yourself from modern environmental stressors like EV lights, connecting more with nature, cold showers, getting ample sunlight, pushing physical and mental limits, and fostering community to fulfill a higher purpose in life. Those tenets became the foundations of his entire brand, a return to how our ancestors supposedly lived, while cutting out modern habits he framed as toxic. And Liver King claimed his physique was the proof. Follow the tenets religiously, and you could look like him too. But from the beginning, a lot of people didn't buy it. Not because the tenets were evil, some of them are obviously fine, but because the physique didn't match the story.
He's fucking jacked. Says he's clean too. I asked him about steroids.
Not true.
Well, the podcast comes out on Birdcast. Everyone check it out.
I'll tell you that right now. Test that guy.
Still, Liver King kept going on podcasts and interviews, repeating the same claim over and over. He was 100% natural.
The question has always been, do you take steroids? Do you take PEDs? The answer to that is no. I've always told the truth. I still tell the truth.
And even though plenty of people rolled their eyes, it didn't matter. Because the character was so viral, so outrageous that millions watched anyway. And a lot of people weren't just watching, they were inspired. They wanted the body. They wanted the primal identity. They wanted the confidence that came with the image. But here's the problem. Most people can't live like a full-time internet caveman. And once that reality set in, Liver King offered the perfect solution. A shortcut. If you couldn't follow all 9 tenets, you could still buy the lifestyle through his supplements.
I guess he doesn't want a treat. I'll take his treat.
That's when the whole thing stopped being content and turned into a machine. The brand exploded. The money exploded. And Liver King became one of the most viral men on the internet. Right as it looked like he was about to cement himself as the next untouchable fitness king, everything collapsed. In November 2022, Derek from More Plates, More Dates uploaded a long video exposing leaked emails. And those emails didn't just suggest Liver King was on steroids. They showed he was paying up to $11,000 per month for them.
So here's this stack, IGF-1 LR3 presumably. Been taking this for a year. CJC with IMAP, been taking this for years. Ibutamoren, also known as MK677, orally active GH secretagogue and ghrelin receptor agonist, been taking this for 2 months. Omnitrope, human growth hormone pharma grade, been taking this for 6 weeks. Testosterone cypionate, 0.6 cc per week. Cruise dose. Deca, nandrolone decanoate, 0.6 cc per week, been taking this for 3 weeks.
At that point, the mystery ended. And Liver King's damage control somehow made it worse.
I've been on several podcasts, and when asked if I've ever taken steroids, I've always said no. I don't touch this stuff, not gonna touch this stuff, never touch this stuff. That was a lie.
Because instead of owning it cleanly, he tried to twist it into a story where the lie was noble. And the internet immediately called it what it looked like, a rewrite. The fact that people believed he was natty at all is mind-boggling. But what really blew people's minds wasn't even the steroid use. It was the justification. Because Liver King tried to frame himself as some kind of hero, claiming he had to lie about steroid use to help people battling depression.
Liver King, the public figure, was an experiment to spread the message, to bring awareness to the 4,000 people a day who kill themselves.
That explanation did not land the way he thought it would. It pulled in people from all over the internet to dunk on how ridiculous it sounded.
He literally lays down with his asshole staring at the sun and eats raw liver and just lifts like a maniac. And that's how he's so jacked.
Then the consequences started showing up in real life. He faced legal trouble tied to how the brand was marketed. And after his reputation got torched, something else happened. He got angry. Instead of fading away, he started acting more aggressive online, calling out people who questioned him, escalating arguments, and leaning into this everyone's against me energy.
And then you can worry about me. This week you probably might need to worry about me. Probably need to worry about Joe Rogan more.
Where are we going, Adam? Austin, Texas. And who's Liver King picking a fight with?
Joe Rogan.
Everybody knows. Well,
Just pulling up to the capital of Texas. Guess what? You're dead. You're dead.
Record anything and everything. Because Joe Rogan, we don't have to make videos to pretend anymore. All of this is happening. We're coming to you. I've challenged you man to man to a fight.
And eventually, that behavior spilled over far enough that it resulted in him getting arrested. Now, Liver King's content has gotten harder to watch. It's not even hate watching anymore. It's the kind of thing where people stop clowning and start sounding genuinely worried.
And then the testicles. What I'm having for dinner really is that deep nourishment that comes from love, the bond above, loyalty, family.
And the comments reflect that shift. I used to like you and watch you. Sad to see you slip so low. I hope you get some help. And Liver King isn't the only one whose natty story collapsed in public, because the next guy got exposed for the exact same thing. Chef Andre Rush. Before he was exposed, Chef Andre Rush had already built a career most people can't even imagine. He worked as a chef for 4 different administrations in the White House. That alone made him stand out. But then the internet got involved, because once Rush leaned into social media, he didn't just post cooking videos. He turned himself into a character. Over-the-top energy, massive physique, pure spectacle.
Tuna! No! This is tuna!
How are we supposed to cook this?
And it worked. He blew up to millions of followers, with fans loving the intensity and the larger-than-life vibe. And whether people came for the food or the show, one detail became a huge part of his identity: his claimed 24-inch biceps. That visual became his brand. The problem is, once you build a brand on something that extreme, the audience starts asking questions. And eventually, people notice things weren't adding up, especially when Rush leaned into the natty claim.
So you are actually natty?
No, I am. But here's the thing. I don't even know what natty means, right? But at the same time am I going to be that way forever? I have no idea. Not meaning I'm going to get on something else, but if I get on some, what is it, TRT, if I get on something?
To a lot of viewers, it sounded like a blatant lie. You gotta admire his commitment to claiming natty. Then Coach Greg got involved. And when Greg gets involved, you already know what time it is. Receipts.
He is trying to mislead us, and so is Mint Health. Y'all know it's from the freaking Trenbolone sandwiches. You know it's true. They don't talk about it. They're not going to mention that. No, it's from 2,000 push-ups a day and eating 8,000 calories.
Greg's video came as a response to a clip Rush posted where he claimed the secret behind those 24-inch arms was basically push-ups and an 8,000 calorie diet.
And doing over 2,000 push-ups, sorry, it's not burning that many calories. You'd burn more calories walking for 75 minutes than doing 75 minutes of push-ups.
That didn't make sense to a lot of people. Not because push-ups are bad, but because the claim felt like it was selling a fantasy version of physiology. And then Derek from More Plates, More Dates weighed in too, arguing that Rush's daily routine was entirely false.
This makes no sense. Like, this is not just suboptimal. Like, I think they've overlooked the fuck out of the fact that the schedule does not make any logical sense. Like, I think this is actually completely fabricated because there's no way you could be following this, you know? I don't know, like maybe it seems like it's a way to make it seem like this is feasible as a natural if you just had the work ethic, you worked out fucking, this goes back, this is the same as the celebrity shit, dude, the chicken, broccoli, and rice almost. Like the diet model is, you know, great, you know, balanced, all that shit, great, but it's like, you know, the reason you don't look like this guy and have 24-inch arms is not because of steroids. Rather, it's because you don't do 2,222 push-ups and work out for 2 hours a day and then eat 10,000 calories.
By now, the internet had a narrative. And once the internet decides you're lying, it doesn't just criticize you, it starts rewriting your story for you. People began posting what they thought the real routine must look like. Now for his real diet. He sleeps for 7 hours, he probably does 3K to 5K cals, and of course, he takes a bunch of roids. At this point, Rush could have handled it in the one way that stops the bleeding. Stay calm, address the claims clearly, move on. Instead, he went on the offensive. He accused Coach Greg of being racist for calling him out.
This just reminded me of the caller I am. How freaking dare you? How dare you call me racist? How dare you act like I'm racist? Everyone in the world's a circle to me. How dare you act like this? Bring in a race card. I treat everyone the same. I call the bullshit on the freaking internet. You are lying. You know you are. You're eating 1,200 grams of protein, 2,222 push-ups every day. And are you in fact natural? Think about it.
And that was gasoline on the fire. Because now it wasn't just a fitness debate, it turned into a character judgment. And the comment sections turned brutal. This Rush guy isn't just a tool, he's the whole goddamn shed. When the backlash got too loud, Rush posted an apology.
He called me a liar. He's lying about not knowing what 2,222 push-ups is. Lying. I don't see an apology here for that. Or the fact that I was using Johnny for the color of his skin.
But it didn't land. Coach Greg didn't accept it, and a lot of viewers didn't either. Because it didn't feel like accountability, it felt like damage control. And fans summed it up perfectly. This is how narcissists apologize though. They're sorry, you made a mistake. As of today, Rush has continued working on television, doing cooking shows and staying active in entertainment. But his career as a fitness influencer ended the moment he chose war over credibility. People may still enjoy the cooking content, they may still find him entertaining, but in the fitness world, a lot of people only see one thing now. A fake natty who lied about steroid use and attacked anyone who questioned him. And that's what makes his fall one of the most memorable in recent years.